Hey y'all, it's Mari M coming at you hot with a brand new video. If you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Sims 4 content. You can also add me on Twitch to see my live gameplay, full builds, and detailed sim creations. Let's get into it. Alright y'all, for today's video I chose to recreate a restaurant that I visited once in my dreams. Oftentimes I dream of places I've never seen in my waking life, and the majority of those times I would see some very interesting houses or buildings, and when I would wake up I would try and find them in the real world through Google, of course, because who has the money to just drive around looking for places? So I would look on Google, like I would give descriptions on Google to see if I could find them, but ultimately I would never be able to find them. I would end up, like, in those moments wanting to see what, like, having a very strong longing to see what those places would actually be like if I was to walk in them in the waking life. And because it's not really something that's too possible unless I'm an architect or somebody that has a crap ton of money that will allow me to just build everything that I want, I'm not gonna be able to. But lo and behold, I am heavily into building on The Sims, so I thought, why not recreate some of those buildings or some of those houses that I see in my dreams in my Sims game? So this restaurant has elements of French influence, more specifically French bistro or brasseries. It has a couple of elements of luxury as well as a classic and contemporary feel that is highlighted by Gothic elements. Much like French architecture, I wanted this build to be characterized by detail and how symmetrical or balanced the whole thing is. Ultimately, I want a restaurant that is aesthetically pleasing. Not to say that the restaurants that come with the restaurant pack or are scattered around various maps in The Sims 4, not to say that they aren't cool or anything, but I just wanted something that had a little bit more personality to it, not just the run-of-the-mill Max's restaurant with few decor and no life. So as you can see, I was figuring out the roofing situation. It was supposed to be a see-through roof with a bulbous kind of look to it, but I couldn't completely cover the top floor with, it's this see-through roofing that I end up using. It doesn't show it yet, but it'll show it. But it's roofing that I chose. I can't remember where I got it from. I think it's custom content, but the goal was to cover the roofing with that clear roofing. But like after looking at it, like after, because I did end up like doing the whole entire roof in that, but after like looking at it for a few times, it just became very overwhelming and extra in the wrong way. So even though this restaurant takes most of its influence from French architecture, I did also use a few bits of Roman influence as far as the friezes, the columns, and the wall trimmings. I feel like using both those elements together kind of creates a more pristine look. And because this is a place that I visited once in my dreams, I wanted to get as close as possible to what it looked like, not only for myself and my gameplay and just seeing something that looks nice, but also for like the whole creative process, and because it just really makes me happy, like to be able to take something like something that's in your mind and bring it to fruition, not really physically, but where somebody else can see it. Like, it's just something so amazing about that. So I did put fencing around the perimeter of the roofing because I wanted to be able to place those friezes and trimmings together and create a layered effect. I think if you try to do it like without that, because I guess like the gate serves as a it serves as a room of a sort, so you can kind of add those trimmings to it and it'll like both of them will stick together. So I wanted to do that because I wanted a really nice layered effect with like really rich details. But if you see something that doesn't really match the vibes, just ignore it for now. Much like me, it's a work in progress, okay? But I did end up running into a lot of errors while building. So on some of them, like some of the errors, I just kind of went with it and built around it until I felt like coming back and changing it. And sometimes it worked in my favor, sometimes it just didn't, but I progressed anyway. After I got the outer part almost finished, I did hop into getting some of the floor plan done. I was really just all over the place with this build because my brain kept snapping this way and that way. Like, I gotta put this here, I gotta make sure I put that there, I can't forget this. So during like the whole build process, it was like the Energizer Bunny was having a field day in my head. At some point when I was using the terrain tool, it was giving me the business. I've been playing The Sims for a while now, and that terrain tool still be getting me. Like, it doesn't make no sense that it is so hard to work with. And it's crazy because when I watch Sims 4 content, when creators use the terrain tool, they make it look so easy. Maybe it's a gimmick or witchcraft, I don't know, but one day I'm gonna master it. Y'all not gonna see it, but the girl was trying to figure out exactly how I could recreate the ground around the restaurant, because it's like it's on a hill, but not exactly. It's like raised, but it's still low. And like, again, you're not gonna see it, but I took a good bit of time trying to figure out, okay, how am I gonna do this? And then on top of that, the terrain tool, like, it just wasn't cooperating with me. Like, literally, I had to kind of just sit in silence for a little bit because it just was not working out the way that I needed to. But as far as balance goes, I not only wanted the building to be proportionate, but I also wanted a good balance of color. Throughout the video, you can see me use colors like cream, black, white, green, various shades of brown, red, etc. with a mesh of different patterns, fabrics, and materials. I feel like combining so many different things helps the build to be more realistic and to be appealing to the eyes, to the point where it's not just a random mash of stuff to fill a void, but complementary blends that help with the end result. In the build, you will see me place elevators with blue placemats of a sort in front of them. It's not something that is visible during gameplay, which is nice, but it is a mod that allows Sims to transport from one area to another. It actually came with some spiral stairs, which is something that I wish was actually part of the Sims base game and not, a mod, because after a while of having so many mods, it does take a toll on your game, and you have to constantly update, constantly switch them out, all that kind of stuff. Who has the time all the time? Like, I really wish there was more than just the straight and narrow stairs in the Sims. That would make everything so much better. So much better. But I didn't use the stairs in this build. I got them saved for another build. But I saw that the elevators that I have, I think they're only deco, like they're not functional, but I wanted everything on the lot to be functional and pleasing to the eye, so I thought to use those placemats in front of the elevator, so it can, even if the sim isn't using it, they'll still get teleported to the area that they're trying to go to. A lot of this build has been just me trying to figure out how to take what's in my head and put it in the game. But just like the terrain tool was giving me the business, so was the fountain that I was originally trying to use. Like, again, that's something else that you're not going to see, but I switched through so many fountains, sizing them, different sizes, changing their positions and all that stuff, just to try to get like one that was closest to what I saw in my dreams. Because like, you're not like, the things that I see, like, it's stuff that I have never seen before in my life. And no matter how hard I look, it's like I'm never gonna find something that even closely resembles that, or is just like that. So I was really just trying to figure out like which one can I use. And like the first one that I used, like it didn't want to, because I used the terrain tool and like the ground was uneven, like it just did not want to be on the level that I needed to be on. So I was just like, you know what, scratch you, go away, I don't like you anymore. And I went with another one that you did see, and I felt like that one was a really good one to use because it has those gothic elements that I really like. I did use a lot of like not too much gothic elements, but like just enough to where it's like a good balance between that and then the French and Roman influence as well. So the restaurant has 3 levels. Though the first level is technically the basement, it was in my plan to try and do all 3 levels above the ground, but only have it to where the top 2 levels would show, and have an inverted ramp coming from where the basement is as a sort of loading dock for inventory. But as much as I tried to make that happen, it just wasn't working out. So I thought to instead just have the level that the basement is just be a basement and work around it. I really wanted to add the loading dock as a part of this build, but it wasn't a good fit. It just wasn't working out in my favor. Like, that's something that I spent a really long time trying to figure out, but then ultimately I was just like, all right, we're just gonna leave this alone. We're gonna push it to the side and gonna keep moving. Now, a piece that I really love about this build, and trust, there are many, I really like the mezzanines. Now, when I was working on, like, before placing the mezzanines, I was thinking about how in The Sims free play, because before I played The Sims 4, I didn't play 3, 2, or 1. I just wanted to play 4 really bad. Around that time that I used to play The Sims free play a lot, and I remember there was this time in Sims free play where they released mezzanines. I haven't played The Sims free play in a very long time, but I remember that because I was excited. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna build with this. It's gonna take my builds to the next level. All of that. Like, I was just thinking about that when I was doing the mezzanines and how like geeked I was when The Sims free play released those. Like that, those were a peak moment for The Sims free play. I don't care what nobody says. A lot of my builds, like, if I could go back and find those builds on my old tablet, I would. Like, I used to hack the game too, so that I could, like, because like I wanted those Sims 4 mechanics in The Sims free play, because I did not have the funds to have the game and then everything I need for the game and all that shit stuff, so I had to get the free version. But anyway, so originally inside the mezzanine was going to be a pool of a sort that starts in the basement and goes up to the 3rd floor. But then I thought of just doing something like the mezzanine being a space that the 3rd and 2nd floor could see into the kitchen. But I realized that it wasn't really possible because the 1st floor is in the basement, and because of how the game is set up, I wouldn't be able to do that. As far as layout of the build and all of its components, the 1st floor or the basement is where the kitchen, the office, security room, break room, and workers' restrooms are. The 2nd floor or the entrance floor is the more subtle dining area or more intimate. Granted, the whole restaurant has an intimate feel to it. The entrance floor has the most of it. That floor is just dining with a bar, restrooms, and then off to the sides, the elevators that take you to the kitchen. On the 3rd floor, there is more dining and another bar, except on like the 1st floor, or not really the 1st floor, the entry floor, it has 2 private dining rooms for esteemed guests or anybody with the funds to book it. Originally, the 2 rooms on the opposite side of the building were just going to be elevator rooms, but I thought to change things up a little and make the roof another dining spot, just in case Sims prefer a cool breeze as they eat. And I'm saying that as if these people are actually real. Listen, when I play in my Sims game, I like to give these Sims the luxuries of life that people often don't get in real life. Like, I even if they're not real people, I still like to make them feel good, you know? Because sometimes when you don't feel good, you just want things to work out in your favor, and it don't always be that way. And I told myself, I'm not going to subject any of these Sims that I create to a hard life. Now, I'm going to still throw in some drama every now and again, you know, spice it up a little bit. But I'm not going to have them living a hard life, okay? Not on my watch. But the 3rd floor also has a terrace that Sims can stand and talk on as they sit for their glasses of wine. The top floor is where people who have children usually sit, as to not disturb the atmosphere of the 2nd floor, the entry floor. As for the dining rooms, I wanted to have intimate lighting to create a welcoming and snug atmosphere. I feel like pairing various chandeliers with scones, pendants, and table lamps helps to create the right balance of lighting in the spaces. Because who wants to go to a restaurant where the lights are like every light is a white light and it's all over the place? Because I know for a fact that I'm not eating in no place like that. Like, it's very much giving straight jacket. I don't have time. But I prefer places with warm lights because it's easy on the eyes, and it just feels more, I guess you could say it feels more homey, like it feels welcoming, like you want to be there. Like, it's so warm. Again, I did hop back and forth all over the place in this video, and that's mainly because as I would be scrolling through all the objects and build pieces, I would see something that I know I'm going to need in another part of the build. So instead of scrolling through everything multiple times, I thought it would be better to place things as I came across them, and then when it came time to really put everything together, the stuff will already be in the area that I need it to be, and all I got to do is make it look nice. When it came to placing the tables and chairs, though y'all don't see it, I did end up cycling through a few contenders until I found the right one. I wanted to try and incorporate some blue in the dining room, but it didn't translate very well, so I chose against it and went with red and green. I did end up switching, like, because you're gonna see, like, there's some bar stools that I picked, but I wasn't really messing with them for real after I placed some other stuff down. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to take you and switch you out. So I did end up switching the bar stools to something that was a little more on brand, because the ones that I had originally picked weren't the right theme as far as the rest of the build. Like, they didn't have a certain je ne sais quoi. So they had to go. Throughout the build, I used a lot of wood and stone because it helped to balance out those contrasting colors again, like lots of black, various browns, cream colors, white, red, green. Like, when you're using a lot of different colors like that, you gotta have something that kind of breaks those colors up so that they're not contrasting, so that they're not, you know, because it's a lot of different colors you're working with, so you want everything to kind of blend well together. So you got to have like different materials, different fabrics and stuff like that to truly bring everything together. Because I'm using French influence, I did use a lot of angel statues over the place, and I mean all over the place. You ain't gonna see it right now, but it's don't worry, it's coming. But I did end up using a lot of angel statues, mainly because I was just thinking, like, and it's like, as far as like the dream goes, like, it wasn't really angel statues in the place. Like, I remember the overall structure of the building, but I don't know if it was a lot of angel statues in there. But I was like, if this is a restaurant that has French influence, has Roman influence, has elements of Gothic, all that kind of stuff, contemporary feel, like, I feel like angels would be kind of the best thing to go for. And like, there's a bunch of different ones that I chose. I did guardian angels, like the angels that you would find at cemeteries, the ones that you would find in Catholic churches, all of them. I thought like they would be a perfect touch to the restaurant, because it in some cases makes the restaurant seem ethereal. Like, it just brought everything together. Like, I did the angels, and then pairing the angels with like different plants and stuff like that, like, it just brought it all together. Like, granted, I used more decorations than just those, but it truly brought everything together. So going on with the decorating of the outside, like, it's gonna come up, but I did end up placing some hedges around the front and some floor lights here and there, and then I went back in and placed some wall vines in the gaps of the wall that I had created, because I wanted to fill in those gaps well and give more to the whole Gothic element. Like, and when I say like give into the whole Gothic element, like, again, going back to, you know, certain cemeteries, like, obviously nowhere, you know, in North Florida, but if you look at like the really, really nice cemeteries, like if you just Google them, like, you can see a lot of different angel statues, like they a little dirty and dingy looking, but they're still like really nice. And then they always have like those vines wrapped around them, and it's messy, but at the same time it looks so good together. Like, it's that good messy. Like it's messy in a good way. So when doing like as you saw when I was doing the walls and doing like making those like arch shapes in the wall with the vines, and then the I think those are archangel statues that I ended up putting in there. But if you're looking at that, when I was doing that, it made me think of, if you ever been to Jacksonville, or if you're from Jacksonville, Florida, and have been to RH in Town Center. RH is basically a furniture store with a rooftop restaurant, and around the restaurant there are vines that hang from the roof covering, and plants and trees everywhere that help make the fine dining experience a bit more lively. And then paired with those warm lights, like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like, babes, just Google it. RH Town Center, Jacksonville. But the vines paired with like the different decor, and then the bushes of leaves, and then like the various warm lights and stuff, it honestly makes the perfect place for a romantic date. And that's honestly what that part of the build made me think of automatically. So on the sides of the wall, like, if, as you can see, like those gaps I was talking about again, where I end up putting some vines and the archangels, I noticed that like the vines that I placed, they came out of the walls a little bit, but I like the placement on the inside. So instead of shrinking them or finding a different one, I just placed like an Invisiroom. And by Invisiroom I mean like just creating another wall behind that one to hide those vines so you can't see them on the outside. So I placed an Invisiroom to hide what was peeking out, and then I did end up placing curtains over the windows in the front, because I wanted the patrons inside to have a little bit of privacy as they eat, and it does sort of come together well. Again, they not real people. I'm well aware that they are not real people, but still, like, I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it, but I want the best for my Sims, okay? I want them to have their privacy, okay? I want them to have a good time. And besides, who wants to be at a restaurant? Because most restaurants, you, like, well, unless you get, like, real close to the window, you can't see nobody eating their food for real. And even at like the fine dining restaurants, like, they'll have big windows and stuff, but like, I just feel like it's so awkward to be sitting there eating and somebody walk past and they look you dead in your face while you finna shove a fork full of pasta down your throat. Like, I just feel like that would be so awkward. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna keep these big windows, because it helps, you know, the outside keep that pristineness, keep that postures, keep that good look. But we gonna put some curtains in front of there. We're gonna cover it up a little bit, you know, let the people have a little bit of privacy. But not, I didn't put a curtain in front of the door, obviously, because I still want, you know, passing by, I still want that it's an angel statue that I put in front of the stairs. And then it's either did I put topiaries? I don't remember, but I put some other stuff in front of the stairs as well, so like when you're walking in, like, that's the first thing you see, like fine dining type stuff. But originally the curtains that I put in front of the windows were supposed to be red, but I couldn't find a red that was rich enough. Like, as you can see right here, like this red right here, I don't keep those bar stools. I end up changing the bar stools quite a bit, but just like a real rich deep red was what I was looking for. But I didn't, like, I looked through all of my the curtains that I have, and I couldn't find a red that was good enough, and it was heartbreaking. It was really heartbreaking. I was 30 high, but I was like, you know what, let's try black. They're supposed to be red, but let's try black. And then I was like, this is not gonna work. This is too much black on black on black. Like, this is a lot of black, and it's not helping to break nothing up. So I was like, all right, well, we'll just keep it as this creamish white. And it, like, at first I was like, I don't like this, but it kind of grew on me up a little bit. as you can see, again, like I've been just randomly placing stuff because I want that I want I want layers, like I want details, I want all of that. I want all of that. So I did end up placing quite a few things just to not really just fill the space, but to like make everything truly come together, and like kind of like not really finishing touches because there's quite a bit left that has to get done, but giving it that extra oomph. So, and then right here you can see like those columns that I'm talking about. Those are who are those by? They're by Little Dika, I believe. Little Dika, listen, it's a lot of creators that I've used in this build that have come in clutch for me many times, and I will forever and always use them. Forever and always. I do think I end up changing those angels to something else. I believe I did, but at some point in the video, and it will show, I decided to change some of the walls to black to help with the contrast and balance out some of the other colors, because having too much black is not good, having too much white is not good. Like, I want the main colors to be black and white, and then, you know, doing bits of the other colors in there, but I don't want it to be too much of one thing because it just becomes overwhelming. And like I said, like too much white, straight jacket. It's suffocating. I don't want that. But throughout the build and throughout the building itself, you will see a bunch of different mirrors, different art pieces, figures, and stuff like that to add depth to the build. As I was saying previously, the Maxis, like the ones that are made by Maxis, not Maxis Match, the Maxis restaurants. The Maxis restaurants that I would send Sims to don't always capture the right feel, and they often lack life. They lack character. If I somehow spontaneously got trapped inside of the Sims, I'm gonna be hungry and I'm gonna give me something to eat. But I would not sit in those restaurants because they don't give me everything that I need and more. So that's something that I kept in mind in regards to this build, which is why I want to make sure every crevice has something that captures attention and looks amazing, looks good. Like, every spot is photo worthy. Every spot can be used as a background for a good Instagram photo. When I was working on the third floor, I was supposed to do chandeliers all over the place, but it was just too much to look at. So I did end up following the lighting pattern that I did on the entrance floor, and I added columns there as well. And then for the private rooms, I wanted to have a sort of extravagant entryway that lets Sims know, hey, you need big money to be in here. And I think I captured that very well. Whenever it gets to this top floor, like, you'll better understand what I'm saying. But by the stairs, like going towards the top floor, the goal was to create a mini forest that you walk through when going up there, and behind that is where I wanted the bar to sit. And I just want to say, like, again, when doing this build, like, it's a lot of custom content creators that I heavily use. Like, ever since I discovered them, heavily use them throughout a lot of the builds that I do. Like, I use a lot of CC from Pierre Sim, Tuds, Lazy Simmies, and Lazy Simmies is a Sims content creator that I used in my last build. They do a lot of decorative Sims. Like, I didn't put any of the decorative Sims in as much as I did with the last build, because mainly I wanted to use them for photos. But again, I did use a lot of lazy semis. I use Felix Andre, Anye, Sibule, Joyce Sims, Harry, Little Dika, and a whole lot of other people that, even though they're not mentioned, like they help this build to be everything that it can be. But they really came in clutch for this build. Like, I did have to comb through, oh lord, I combed through so much stuff on Patreon. My eyes was about to fall out. Like, when I tell you I was combing through, baby, I was combing through. I was knee deep. I was neck deep. I was nostrils deep in Patreon. Scrolling, hours upon hours, trying to find everything that I knew that I needed, or something that was at least close to what I was looking for. But honestly, it was all worth it in the end. Like, I did end up getting a few headaches because I was on the computer for like so long trying to find some of this stuff, but it was worth it because, I mean, the build came out exactly how I envisioned. And yeah, there will never be a build that I don't use Harry or Pierre Sim. Like, if out of those two, I feel like I use Harry the most, because a lot of the houses that I built, like, Harry has, what is it, the beach collection or something like that. Like, I use the rugs from that a lot. I didn't use them in this, but I used the rugs from the Harry Beach collection a lot. And then the Hamptons collection, I used the I think it's the countertops or the counter, something in the kitchen, child, something in the kitchen that I use a lot, because I just like it. Like, it's good quality stuff. Like, it don't glitch nothing. It's always there when I need it. It's everything and more. And then as far as like Pierre Sim, like, beyond this build, like a lot of the builds that I would do, like house builds and stuff like that, I used the windows that Pierre Sim creates, because they're really nice. Like, they kind of match with Max's, but not entirely. Like, they still kind of look real, but they're like a good balance in between, like, realistic and Max's. So I really like using those. In the basement is where I mostly used Tud CC, and it's something that you will end up seeing. The basement is pretty much cut and dry. Like, not much has to go there, but it still has its fair share of clutter. Child, I would say, like, this whole process of creating YouTube videos and doing the recordings and stuff, like, it's definitely getting easier. Like the time that it takes to do it, like, it's still a good bit of time, but it feels like everything goes by a lot smoother and a lot quicker, because I've been, being consistent with it and, like, studying the processes and all that kind of stuff. So it is a process that goes by a bit quicker. And then on top of that, like, granted, I still have a long ways to go before I reach the goal that I want to achieve as far as my channel, but the process is nice. Like, I've been having a lot of fun with it. Like, I wake up every day, like, eager to, like, create new videos or come up with new ideas, and I have a bunch of them. Like, it's really just down to time. It's really just down to time and effort and energy that gets put into the builds and finding all the right custom content, and then, filming it and all that kind of stuff. And then on the side of filming, like, I'm so glad that I decided to switch from using Twitch studios to film my stuff to I use the Xbox app on my Windows computer, and that does a really good job at recording the videos. They're nice and clear, and it don't require too much effort, and they actually save when I need them to. Because when I was using Twitch, like, stuff would not save. It would pick and choose when it want to save. Like, I have so many builds that I was gonna chop and screw and put them on YouTube, but the videos never saved. Thankfully, I still took screenshots and stuff, or took pictures of the builds at like the end result of them. But literally, there's this one build that I did where it was a librarian's cottage, and it's something that I am gonna end up putting on the gallery if I didn't already put it on there. So it's like, it's gonna be there for people to see it, but like, I really wanted to show that build process, because like I was talking about that terrain tool earlier, child, figuring out that terrain tool as far as that build, child, oh my gosh, my head was killing me. My head was killing me, but I figured it out eventually. Like at the 2.5 hours, I figured it out how I wanted it to be. But it's basically this cottage design that I had created. Well, not really created. Well, kind of created, but not created at the same time. Like, I got the idea from scrolling through Pinterest, but a lot of it I did kind of do on my own. So it's basically this cottage just like sits on a hill, and then it also has like a greenhouse off to the side. It also has a animal barn well, I'm saying animal barn like I got all that. No, babes, I got a cow shed. It's a cow shed, and then towards the back there's a big tree with like I think it's either a tree we can get together or something, group hangout or something like that. Child, I don't know, but it's the tree with the lights on it, and it's a pretty nice build. If possible, I would post pictures of it on here or somewhere, like on my what is that app called? My mind is blanking, but I'd probably post it on I don't know, because my Instagram is kind of like a personal Instagram. I just post the reels there every now and again, but I'd probably put it on TikTok, like post the pictures of the build on TikTok if people, wanted to see what it looks like and stuff like that. But as you can see, I am working on the top floor. We're finally at the top floor. I think that even if it probably has the same amount of time as the entry floor, I feel like the entry floor took the most time, because that's where I was really trying to figure out, okay, how can I convey this? How can I put this stuff together? I think that the third floor went by pretty quickly. It was pretty cut and dry. Like, everything essentially had the same thing on either side, so like kind of like just a mirror of each other with like some differences here and there. So that was pretty easy. And then going to the basement or the first floor, that one probably went by pretty quick as well, because it didn't require too much effort. So as you can see, like by the entryways, I was trying to figure out how to create the illusion of like draped curtains here. Like, originally I thought about doing the see-through doors that you saw, but I was like, that ain't it. That's gotta go. So I took that out, and then like I thought about, like, I couldn't really figure out how to create the effect of like having, because like how it's supposed to be, it's where like the walls are, like the black walls that lead to the private rooms. The way that it's actually supposed to be is like layered walls, but because like you can only make a wall, like the shortest a wall can be is by one tile. If I could do a wall shorter than that, then I would have, but I couldn't. So I was like, how am I going to make this come together in the way that I needed to? And so I don't think that's debug stuff. It probably is debug stuff. I can't remember, child. But it's either debug or it's custom content. But I was like, this would kind of go really well. So I think we'll do that. And as you can see, I do place down those, I was about to call it a cul-de-sac. It ain't no cul-de-sac, child. But those reddish kind of tables. Like, I thought about doing those, but I was like, that is too bulky. It's too nasty. I don't like it. It's gotta go. There was supposed to be some seating with like the couches behind it, like a couch and then a table and then 2 chairs. But I like none of the dining seats that I had. Like, there was only probably like 2 or 3 couch like dining seats, and they were too bulky. Like, they took up way too much space. So I was like, okay, we'll just change this and we're just gonna do chairs. And again, like going back, like you see a lot of like those tables, I think the long tables are by Anye, and then the short table is by Pierre Sim, I do believe. And those are marble, and then there's also wood. So I was like, we're just gonna do what we did on the bottom floor and do that. The words, oh my gosh, the words were not coming for a second there. This is what happens when you talk for a long time. Like, your words just end up leaving you, your thoughts end up leaving you, everything start meshing together, and it's just a whole lot of. But creating that contrast is what I was gonna say. Like, because like how you see like the walls, all of the walls, unlike the bottom floor, all of the walls are black, and then the floor is that black and white pattern. So that's enough white, that's enough black. We gotta find something else to break it up. So that dark brownish black tables with like the black chairs with the wood armrests and the wooden legs and stuff, I feel like broke that up really well. I did try to get some light colors in there. Like, as for the top floor, I didn't want too much light color going on like the bottom floor, so I only did like some elements of it. And again, I did do that red carpeting because it's just something so nice about red carpeting. Like, it just gives elegante. It does. It gives elegante. But, child, one of my Funko Pops just fell down and almost bust me in my head. That would have been really crazy. That would have hurt. But as you can see, like at this part in the video is like I was saying, like when you walk up through, well, you walk up from the entry floor and go to the 3rd floor, like walking through that area is like a mini forest. Like, I wish I would have did, like, I wish I had like an arch that was big enough, because like I feel like an arch would have been better than just placing those trees and those bushes and stuff. But you know, either way the cookie crumbles, it does still look good. So it's not, I'm not really upset about it. It's just like secondary thinking. Like, I thought I'd already filmed it. It's like secondary thinking. As you can see, those chandeliers are there. They're not gonna stay. They ain't staying. I looked at them and I was like, yeah, y'all are kind of ugly. Y'all are too much. It's not good for the space. So I did end up switching those out for the same lights that I used downstairs, and then I did the columns, but it didn't get to that point yet. As far as the private rooms, I had these lights, these like neon lights that say private room. It's something that I used in previous, but I thought about using it there, but I was like, that's just too much. Like, that's taken away from the whole elegant and charming vibe that this restaurant is supposed to have. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep it fairly simple. I say that, but it's like not simple at all. But as you can see, I did do like those drapes. Originally I was gonna do the entire room in drapes and then do the windows on that side wall where the windows are, but I was like, that's too much going on. We need to like break up some of this red with like some gold and some other colors. So that's what I ended up doing. As far as the kitchen goes, I didn't have too much to think about where things were gonna go or how I was gonna place them, because it's literally just the kitchen. Like, I just remembered, because I remember I was in culinary, when I was in culinary, like, I just kind of like carried how, not really how the kitchen looked, but like certain elements of the kitchen and like what you could find in a chef's kitchen. And I just, did something similar to that here. I did run into an issue with the bathrooms though, because I was trying to fit the stalls in there without going into another room, and it took a little minute, because like the way that I have like the floor plan set up, like there was only so much space between the male and female restrooms, so I did have to figure that out quite a little bit. But beyond that, the whole floor is the quickest part of this build. It's a lot of words, but we pushed through anyway. But as you can see, I did end up switching out the even though this was quick and I knew what I wanted to do, I still wanted to try and figure some stuff out, because I didn't want everything to look too boring and too basic just because it's the kitchen. Like, I still want the kitchen to have a little bit of life, even if it's just the kitchen. It's not really carrying that whole elegant feel. I still want it to be, a chef's kitchen. Like, it still gotta carry a semblance of that essence. So I ended up switching the countertops quite a few times, and this is mainly Tud stuff. Like, the ones that I'm placing, well, no, I think all of it is Tuds. Like the countertop stuff, and then the stoves and stuff, like that's all Tuds. I thought about doing like 2 separate rooms, where it could be a room for lockers and then a room that is the break room. But I was like, listen, we're not finna do too much. Okay, it ain't like 1,000 Sims can work on the same lot at the same time. Like, they at max you give you probably 5 workers, and then all of them split the responsibilities. It's crazy, but that's how it is. Somebody need to create a mod where you can have multiple people working at a restaurant. Now that is something I want to see. If I had the smarts to create mods, I would do it, but I'm not equipped with that type of knowledge, so it is what it is. This is basically just a freezer. I'm sure you can already tell that that's just a freezer, but I don't know, child. I was cheesing hard as heck when I was doing the freezer, because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make this look good. Yeah, this gonna be right. Yeah, we're gonna get this thing going real good. Yeah, type jump. As far as some of the other stuff, like the decor objects, I can't remember who those are by, but it's basically a bunch of bulk stuff that's actually, it's a grocery store CC haul. I just can't remember who by. And then I think the like the bread stuff, is that by Sibubu? I say Sibubu because I think that's what it says on the Sims resource. I don't use the Sims resource, but I use what is it? Something wolf, child. I use, but it started with a C, child. I can't remember to save my life. Like, I think a lot of the malware stuff started dying down, so I went back to getting my custom content off of, what is it called? It's really not coming to me, but it's this thing where you can get a bunch of mods and custom content from. But I get a lot of stuff from Sibulet or Sibubu from there, because I genuinely don't like having to get anything off the Sims resource. Like, that thing been glitchy for a very long time, so if I can avoid it, I will. And if it's something on there that I said I like, oh well, I guess I just can't like it no more. But a lot of the stuff that I used, all like the deco food and stuff like that, it's either by Brazen Lotus, Sibubu, or somebody else. But I did again hop back and forth all over this floor as well, because again, as I see something when I'm scrolling through all the objects and stuff. Like if I see something that is useful somewhere else, I'm gonna go ahead and grab it, because I, for the life of me, do not want to have to keep scrolling and wasting up time to try to find something where I can just grab it right there and there already be where I need to be at. And then here you can see I'm placing a lot of signs. I wish I had, that's something that I was thinking of when I was doing this, is I wish I had more signs. Like, as if you've ever like took a culinary or been inside of a chef's kitchen, like there's signs for literally everything. Hazard signs, fire extinguisher signs, like all kinds of signs all over the place. Like I was very limited with those, but I used what I could. And then as far as the break room, I was just trying to find a lot of just stuff that you would, I guess, find in the break room. But again, I was limited, and there's not really too many people that create stuff like that, because I guess they don't really care to. I don't know, child, I'm not a creator like that. But I placed what I could, and I became content with it. Again, I think are the bathrooms equal? I'm pretty sure they are. But I think, like, out of everything on the basement floor, I really liked doing the office and the security room. I did a security room. Like, if you notice throughout the build, I placed security cameras everywhere. Like, I don't really know how to give them the face and duration that I want them to face when they're literally placed on the wall, but that's why I placed them everywhere, because it's like, I don't know, it feels right to have a lot of security cameras in a very nice restaurant where people have a lot of money. And because, like, what if somebody come in here with a gun and try to put a stick up on somebody? The security cameras will catch every single angle and alert people in the security office, which is downstairs. Well, not downstairs, down the elevator on the basement floor. And they see, like, the sense was sensing in my head. Even if I ain't got the words to say, the sense was sensing in my head. But I had a lot of fun with doing that, because I don't know, like, it's just something, like, ever since I was young, like, I've always wanted to, like, kind of like be in like those security rooms, and like maybe the image that I have in my mind is a little different than what it actually is in real life. But like, just like people that like you'll end up seeing it on like the screens and stuff that I ended up choosing as wall decor, and not in the office, but in the security room. But like, it just feels so high tech. Like, I like that high tech kind of feel that it gives. Like, I like the blues, and then like the typing on the computer and stuff like that. It's cool to me. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but it's cool. And then, like, doing the office, I'm not 100% on what the office of a restaurant is supposed to look like, but this is what it's looking like today. I wanted to have a little bit of personality here as well, because granted, this is just an office. It's just the owner's office and stuff like that. Like, but still, like, people that own offices, like, even if it's like even if it's a pristine place where it's like things are uniform and are a certain way and follow a certain theme, like, you could still see elements of who that person is and how they decorate their spaces. So I wanted to put some character in there as well. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make a sim that will own this restaurant. I probably will, I probably won't, I don't know. That would be a very good storyline to do, like just to have like the owner of the restaurant, and then like he has a a very small family, and then like his son has to carry on the torch of owning the restaurant because he gets sick. I don't know, child. I be thinking about some stuff sometimes, for real, for real. Like I be thinking about stuff, but like I'll be doing a bill, like any bill, whether I show it off or don't. Like I always, like when I get done with the bill, I be like, oh, this would be good for this right here, and then this right here could happen, and because that happened, this over here happened, and now this person gotta take over, and now these people got this going on. Like I be I be in la la land. I be in my own world when it comes to some of this stuff. But as you can see throughout the bill, I did end up changing how high some of the lights were, like, and when I mean high, like how strong they were, because that's something that also helps the overall result of everything, is how strong some of the lights are. I don't want them to be too strong. I want everything to have a good balance and all that kind of stuff. And because it's a basement, like even if it is a kitchen out here, an office down here, a break room, all that kind of stuff, like I still want the lighting to be a little dim because it's a basement. Like it makes sense, But yeah, child, I think I'm out of words to say. Like, you know how when you just keep talking and then like you could feel like the saliva welling up in your mouth because you just keep going on and on and on and on and on. Yeah, that's what's happening. But I'm trying, because I still gotta make the outro. I still gotta make the outro. But yeah, child. Yeah. Alright, y'all, that's wraps for this video. This restaurant, Nourriture de Monde, is an up-and-coming restaurant with influence from French and Roman architecture. It will be available on the gallery, and I will put my gallery ID in the description below. If you want to download it, leave a comment for me letting me know you would like the files associated with it. Hopefully, if you made it this far in the video to hear this message, you liked what you saw. If you guys liked what you saw, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more Sims 4 content. Forward the link to a few of your friends if you will, and don't forget to add me on Twitch for live gameplay. I greatly appreciate all of you who watched to the very end, and even if you didn't, I appreciate you anyway. Until next time, this is Mari M signing off.